created a form within our application so that we can send posts to the actual MongoDB database. One thing that's important is we want to be able to view those posts as well, right? That's what we're going to do in this lesson. Let's go ahead and create a component called post. Okay, so this is what a single post is going to look like. We've got title, content, importance, category. We probably want date and time on there as well, right? I'll put the date and I'll put the time. Okay, so we have the title, date, time. I may actually take this and within here I'll create a card footer. So let's say P class. Oh wow, it's like they're reading my mind. That's scary. But all right, so we'll put that in here. Bam. Let's close this up. Wonderful. So we now have a sample component. What we want to do at this point is we want to create a file so that we can view those posts in a grid. So I'll say, we can just call this honestly post. And within here, okay. So this is going to be a very important lesson. Within this page, but I've created a component called post grid, right? I've created a variable saying 6 as the max number of posts that I'd like to display per page. I've created some logic for slicing through that. Now, the reason why this lesson is extremely important is because we're going to learn about one of the best Next.js hooks called getServersideProps. getServersideProps allows us to get data from a database that our web page needs during the request. So instead of using Axios to load data as it comes, which is pretty cool, we can literally get all of those posts at the beginning of us accessing this page so that it looks like those posts came with the page, and it just makes things look a little smoother. So let me show you how that works. First thing we'll do is at the very bottom, we can say export, and we're not going to say default, we'll just say function, and we're going to call it getServersideProps. And it already gave us a context. So the context allows us to access the request and the response object, but there's a few things that we need to import in order for this to be successful. So I'll need to import getServersideProps, and we're going to have to import MongoDB. Now, even though I'm importing these on the client side, when this runs, it actually builds all of the server-side logic in a separate file. But just so that it's easier for us to develop and code, they allow us to utilize the hook within our client-side application. But when it's actually deployed, imagine these as two separate applications talking to each other. Now, if that confused you a bit, just ignore it. But if you understood it, then you're really on your way to getting a job pretty soon. All right, so at this point, we want to get data from MongoDB. So we're going to need to import MongoDB in here. So we'll say MongoDB from, okay, hold on, give me a second. So import Mongo client, that's what we want, MongoDB, excellent. And within here, we'll more or less have a lot of the same logic, but at the very end, we're going to return props, right? Every time you utilize getServersideProps, props is going to be an object that you're going to return at the very end, and that's going to represent post, and we can just put post there. Okay, so it's just saying, look, I don't know what you're talking about here, man. Post doesn't exist. Well, I'll show you.